Well, with Republicans now one step closer to losing another seat in the United States Senate, with Donald Trump's scandal-plagued candidate Ken Paxton winning the Republican nomination last night in Texas, thereby strengthening Democrat James Tallarico's chances of being the first Democrat to win a Senate election in Texas in 38 years. Today, Donald Trump said, "I don't care about the midterms." Donald Trump is the first president in history to say that he doesn't care about the midterm elections. No president has ever said that, even in private. But Donald Trump chose to say it today in a setting that is supposed to be private, a cabinet meeting. Donald Trump bragged at the beginning of his so-called cabinet meeting today about inviting the White House press corps to join the cabinet meeting. Donald Trump said, quote, "To the best of my knowledge, press has never been invited ever to a cabinet meeting for any reason at all." That's right, because prior to Donald Trump, cabinet meetings were real meetings. They were serious meetings. And as the powers of the presidency expanded after World War II, and the White House staff expanded exponentially, cabinet meetings became increasingly rare, but still important enough to be private so that everyone involved could speak freely to the president. Donald Trump's so-called cabinet meetings are really the kind of cheap reality TV Donald Trump used to play in a fake conference room on an absurd NBC show. And it is plain to everyone who actually watches even a second of a Trump cabinet meeting on TV that no one there would ever consider speaking freely to Donald Trump. They all know their job there is to praise Donald Trump and nothing else. And that has never been the purpose of a cabinet meeting before Donald Trump's silly, televised cabinet room performances. Donald Trump said, "I don't care about the midterms," when he was rambling about his belief that Iran had not negotiated a peace deal with him yet because Iran thinks that the political pressure of the coming midterm congressional elections will work in their favor in negotiating with Donald Trump.
They thought they were going to outweight me, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms.
I don't care about the midterms. That is exactly what Republicans in Congress have been assuming about Donald Trump, that he doesn't care about the midterms. He doesn't care about their future. But Donald Trump has not been able to resist meddling in the midterm elections. Senate Republicans are reportedly upset that Donald Trump turned against one of their colleagues, a reliable incumbent Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas, to support a profoundly damaged new Republican nominee for Senate in Texas, Ken Paxton, who Republicans believe will be easier for Democrat James Tallarico to beat than John Cornyn would have been. And here is how James Tallarico greeted Ken Paxton's nomination to run against him last night when James Tallarico joined us on this program.
Ken Paxton embodies the broken political system that we're running against. He is the most corrupt politician in America. 3 years ago tomorrow, he was impeached by his own party for using his public office, his position of public trust, to enrich himself and his donors at our expense. And that is exactly the problem in our politics. It's puppet politicians who serve themselves and their billionaire mega donors instead of serving us. It's why we can't afford anything. It's why we can't get ahead no matter how hard we work. The system is rigged by corrupt politicians like Ken Paxton. And so it's going to be all of us. It's going to be Democrats, independents, and Republicans. It's going to be urban Texans, rural Texans, suburban Texans. It's going to be all of us coming together, the people versus Ken Paxton.
Republicans in the Senate and in the House do care about the midterm elections, and they know Donald Trump is not helping them, and they know nothing is hurting them more than Donald Trump's war in Iran and the inflation it has caused in this country, especially skyrocketing costs of gasoline and diesel fuel. 83% of voters say gas prices are going up a little or a lot, and not a single person has said gas prices are going down a lot, except Donald Trump, who said that today in his fake cabinet meeting.
But the American people, sir, are seeing higher gas prices.
Yeah,
now, it's come down a little bit, but it's still $4.45.
Oh, it'll come down a lot. It'll come down to where it was before.
So there's Donald Trump telling people gasoline prices have come down a lot. That's what he said. And he then said that from his limousine, he has seen gas stations with prices under $2 a gallon. It is impossible to be more removed from reality than Donald Trump. And few things demonstrate that better than Donald Trump's rambling so-called cabinet meetings where he tries to convince people the price of gas is less than half of what they actually paid today. In his so-called cabinet meeting today, during wartime, Donald Trump spent nearly 9 minutes speaking uninterrupted, nonstop, utterly without coherence, about the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C., that has never before been the subject in a presidential cabinet meeting. The reflecting pool that he is rebuilding. He lied about the size of the reflecting pool, saying it's longer than the tallest building in the world, which is not true. But he didn't mention the new reporting in the New York Times today by David Fahrenthold about the reflecting pool project. Quote, a National Park Service analysis found that the contractor, given a no-bid contract to repair the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, is being paid an inflated and excessive profit margin, according to federal documents obtained by the New York Times. So, in a country where people are wondering whether they can afford to fill up their gas tanks this week, Donald Trump is awarding no-bid contracts with inflated profit margins to rebuild the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. in the way that he likes by the 4th of July. And he is paying for it by taking money from national parks all over the country and directing it away from those national parks where fewer Americans can afford to go now because of the rise in gasoline prices, and spending that money in Washington, D.C. on the reflecting pool. And for that, he was worshipped on cue in his cabinet reality show today.
The fact that we have dedicated presidential leadership is really what's made this possible.
It speaks to the strength of your leadership. It has never been a better time to be an American.
Just a reminder of another war you helped to settle, Mr. President. It's exciting to see your vision.
You're leading us to the greatest economy that the world has ever known, and that's why they tell you to tell me to tell you, Mr. President, thank you, and they love you.
Just like you talked about with the reflecting pool, we didn't do the same old thing the way we'd done it in the past after, Iraq and Afghanistan, the way we waged wars. Instead, you said we're going to do this smart.
And so on this, the 88th day of Donald Trump's smart war, Donald Trump's cabinet once again laughed about war.
And the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, Central Casting, he loves war. I don't like it. He's a good man, that one.
He loves war. Ha, ha, ha. No presidential cabinet has ever willfully, publicly shamed itself before. But such is the buffoonery of Donald Trump and his cabinet that when Donald Trump says something that no previous president has ever said about a member of his cabinet, he loves war, they all decide to underline that obscene line with their own laughter. The cabinet room has never reeked of such stupidity and inhumanity before, and it never will again after the Trump presidency. A Trump cabinet can be sure that they will never be outdone in their cruelty as they listened in awe to Elon Musk describing to them how he put the United States Agency for International Development, as he put it, into the wood chipper, denying food to starving people, denying medicine to people who would die without it. Such cruelty has never been overtly approved by American government officials. The way they all cheered on Elon Musk doing what Bill Gates called, quote, the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children. They cheered that on. The Trump cabinet's incompetence will never be outdone, has never been outdone. Donald Trump's defense secretary is in a war that he does not know how to win or to end.